What's going on, everybody? I'm Dominic with PowerSlapNews. Joining me is Andrew Field, Uncle Drew. Thank you so much for giving me the time. How's it going, man?
It's going good, boss man. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Just got off work. Like I told you off camera, off recording there, my setup's not great. I apologize today if I'm not looking directly at you. I'm going to do my best to keep focusing on my camera that's way out in the distance there. So sorry if I'm looking a little off. I apologize.
Oh no, you're good, boss man. I understand.
Okay, so you're on the second batch of fighters coming into Power Slap. I want to ask you, now that you've seen the sport kind of do a season, a live event, what made you say, hey, this is for me? I want to step up. I want to slap people.
Growing up, I didn't really grow up in the best area. It was more of like a little old mill neighborhood next to like the housing projects and stuff. So there wasn't really much to do besides skate, do drugs, or fight. So, growing up, we all kind of, how guys are. We all would try to test each other and just see what we got. And I don't know. I grew up fighting, and I know I got a pretty good chin, and I just wanted to test that a little further. And hopefully one day here soon, I'll be able to show off the fact that I got a pretty strong arm on me too.
So I want to go back to the chin because that seems to be a common thing with power slap people is that they've all had a little bit of some sort of like street fighting, or whether they've chose it or whether it's the life that's just been thrusted upon them. They've all had a little bit of experience on the streets there. And everyone's got a bit of a story. AJ got kicked with steel toe boots. I was talking to somebody else. A steel bar fell on his head. What do you got a story like that proves your chin? Anything crazy? Anyone hit you with a baseball bat? Something like out of nowhere?
No, I've been cold cocked by dudes twice my size, and like I said, I grew up in kind of a rough and tumble area, so it was more of a you can respect a man that loses a fight, but no one respects a pussy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's one thing to lose, but it's one thing to not fight in the first place.
So now that you're stepping up into power slap, have you changed any type of training or regimen? Are you like looking for a gym now, looking for a team, trying to find a home kind of thing? Or are you still going at this solo dolo, treating it as if you were still by yourself on your own kind of thing?
I actually am good friends with Paul Teague from the first like the initial events, and I actually used to train a little bit of MMA but in South Carolina back then, you had to be 18 to get in a cage, so it was kind of a damper on that, and then I kind of went down the wrong path in life a little bit. And after I signed up for Slap, he's given me the chance to come down and train with them at their gym where they all train, but as far as that goes, it's an hour and a half away one way. So I don't really get a chance between working 10, 11-hour days. And I actually have a daughter who's got some medical complications. So it's more of I try to get to the gym, do a little bit of strength training, some resistance training, work on my explosiveness on my own, and talk with them and get advice from him and what to train and the other fighters that I keep in touch with, just to kind of make sure I'm on par.
So I heard you mention that on Instagram with me when we were talking yesterday. You mentioned, and like, what a nice guy. You're telling me like you don't want to inconvenience me. You got a daughter. Don't worry about me in my time. You got a daughter in the hospital there, but don't be apologizing to me like that. I thought, I'm like, what a nice guy this guy is. But I wanted to ask you, without trying to pry, how is your daughter? Is the situation there okay? Is this something that's really motivating you to step up to like the next level and really like raise yourself to that power slap glory? What's going on with that situation?
So my daughter, actually, we just found out maybe about a week ago exactly what's going on. She's had medical complications from day one. She just turned 4 months old, and she's had trouble gaining weight. She's had liver issues and stuff like that. We actually found out recently she has a rare medical condition called CDG. It's a big long word. I'll save you the trouble on it, but it basically there's only about a little over 800 cases recorded worldwide of the disease that she has. So that's just something we're going to have to take day by day, because as of right now, there's no real cure for it. We just have to treat the issues it's going to cause in the future. So right now, we're about 3.5 hours away from home, staying down here so that she can get the medical treatment she needs. and hopefully she's doing a lot better. Her liver, they were worried about liver failure about 2 weeks ago, and as of now her liver levels are all normal levels and looking good. She's actually on a ventilator right now, fighting a lung infection that they believe she got from being in the hospital around other sick children and stuff, because one
Jeez.
thing that comes along with the disease she has is immunocompromisation. So anything as far as a cold, if someone comes around her with the sniffles, she's going to get sick. But that's something we know now and to be on the lookout and be more wary of. And actually, there's another fighter, his son, we actually met. And as rare as the disease is, we somehow met in Vegas. Cole Young, you've probably seen him with that amazing highlight knockout. It's out on Rumble. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go watch it. And it's just wild because we were talking about our kids, and when he was we were like, wow, these are a lot of similar things, and we were like, it's probably not what she has because it's such a rare thing, and if come to find out it is. So the odds of us even meeting each other were insane.
That's that's kind of unique that you now share this experience with someone who's also doing like your career path, right? You guys are going to be going through that a little. Like that's got to be a little reassuring to have somebody to call who is like you're telling me, and I'm feeling like that sounds so scary. 4 months old in the hospital, telling you rare can like that sounds absolutely terrifying. But to know maybe you have this additional person now who's in the same sport as you, going through the same things as you, is that a little more reassuring now that you found this person kind of in your circle?
Of course, and his son's a little older, so they kind of know a little more about navigating and everything, and they've been a big moral support. And just as far as like ask the doctor this, ask about this, that's been a very big help because that lets me know what to ask to get better answers and better care for my daughter. And like every day or so, they check in, they ask how she's doing. I like to check in and ask how their son's doing. So, I mean, it's just really wild. And we're talking about possibly trying to do something to help other families that are going through the same issues that we're having, because like having to be out of work and being the only provider is it's kind of rough. But as far as everything goes, this community's been super supportive. Everyone's been trying to help as much as they can. Like everyone's checked in. Like Ryan Phillips that's my guy. He's been a big support. I talk to him almost every day. And the other guys, I'm sorry.
Oh,
The
don't.
other guys all try to check in and make sure we're doing okay, like mentally and everything, and just asking us how things are going. So it's been awesome.
That's definitely heavy. Ryan's an awesome guy. We got to meet him in Vegas. What a friendly, awesome dude Ryan is. It's good to know that you got him in your circle as well. In terms of like community support, I'll definitely say this. The people that we've met in slap fighting and power slap specifically are very tight knit, very community. Frank the Tank, his girlfriend, all those people around Slap Championship, all very tight. If you guys end up putting together some sort of organization or some sort of group, please reach out to us. We definitely love to contribute, share, and do our part to get that word out as well. I think that would be something worthwhile, especially if, like you said, there's two of you in the same sport going through the same thing. I would definitely, if you guys make that happen, don't forget about us. Definitely include us in reaching that out. If you have any links already, we'll include them on this interview. Anything that we could do to help, by all means, you let us know.
All right.
Um,
But
no, go ahead. Sorry.
I was about to say, as of right now, there's not too many organizations. I believe I've seen a couple that are kind of overseas and stuff. And as far as I found, like the Mayo Clinic and one geneticist that's out in Colorado are like the only ones that kind of specialize in this disease, because it's so rare and there's not very much known about it. As far as all that goes, there's still research and clinical studies and all kind of stuff being done on it. But I mean, it's like I said, it's a very rare thing. And there was a few of the doctors that, when I was mentioning it before we got the genetic testing back, like, hey, could it be this? They were like, I don't think so because it's super rare. And a few of them were like, I'm not sure if I've ever even heard of that. I'll have to do some research on it. And like when we got it back, the doctors here, a few of them stayed up all night reading as much as they could to be able to tell us more about it and trying to find a care plan to make her more comfortable and allow her to thrive and gain weight like she needs to. It's just, it's really going to be a big learning curve, but didn't really have necessarily an easy life growing up. So I'm just trying to do anything I can to make hers as easy as possible.
That's the goal, right? As a father, that's always the goal, is to give your next one a better life than you had. And again, I'm gonna say it again. If there's something that we can do here to help support you guys end up doing like a fundraiser or anything like that to help with bills, please reach out, let us know, we'll share it. How has the Power Slap and UFC, the organization, been around you in this? Has it really affected you in competing in these type of qualifying events, or have they been very open to working around you, or has it impacted you in Power Slap in any way?
I mean, so far, not really. I'm right now, it's kind of impacting like training and being able to get to the gym as much as I would like. And as far as being able to kind of stay on diet, because last time when we went out, I had to drop like 20 pounds in 4 days, which I did it. I came in like 2 pounds underweight. So I can do it, but I ended up kind of, it's not really, you're not going to feel your best. You're going to kind of lack in power because of the dehydration aspect of everything. So as of right now, I'm trying to get closer to fight weight so I don't have as much to drop. So it's easier to replenish those electrolytes and everything. But as far as like strength training and everything, it's been hard to get to the gym with the condition that my daughter has and all the doctor's appointments and this, that, and the other. But I'm still trying, I'm still putting in the work. And when I can, when I do get to the gym, I try to go for at least 2.5, 3 hours, get as much work in as possible.
We're gonna see you in the hallway of the hospital just doing push-ups outside, trying to keep the gains up while you're trying to stay beside your daughter. That's gonna be awesome, man. I think we're going to see big things from you come out of the sport. I think you look focused and driven, and I think you got a real reason to be here, right? Versus some other people are just here for a check. Sounds like you got a real reason to fight. And I think sometimes that's the difference, especially in combat sports versus these other sports, is what gets you over into that deep water, right? Do you have a reason to be here or not? So going back into power slap and training, I've asked a lot of fighters this, and it goes back and forth. Height versus weight. What do you find is the more important factor as a striker in power slap? Do you want to be the heavier fighter, the taller fighter, the shorter fighter? Where do you want to be?
I mean, it's always a good thing to be on the heavier end of the weight class. Like right near the cutoff is always a good place to be because you're going to be a heavier fighter. And I feel like as far as power slap goes, the heavier you are, the more weight you carry around. Usually, you're going to be able to come with more power. Because I mean, naturally, before all the weight cut, like last time, we most of us came straight off the couch because it wasn't really. But now that we see the opportunity we have, taking it a lot more serious, getting in the gym, training, supplements like creatine and everything just to kind of maintain muscle mass and build mass while also dropping fat and getting just more healthy and working on explosiveness and hand speed and shoulder strength and stuff like that, just so we can be as good as we possibly can be so that we can stick around for a little while to do these things that we have. Because I know a lot of the other guys, they want it just as bad as I do. They have their reasonings that they want it. Some of them have several kids and they just want to be able to make enough money and get to somewhere where they can spend more time with their kids, or they not necessarily had the easiest time growing up. So they want to do something to better their life. That's like, and I just want to be able to give my daughter the best life possible while also being able to spend as much time with her as possible. And if this is an outlet that will allow me to do that and build something of a career on my own and do my own thing, so that if I just feel like not working that day and I just want to stay home with my kid and my fiance, then I can do that.
That's awesome, man. I definitely think there's a lot of people on that same drive as you. Like you said, a lot of people are here for their kids. A big thing that we've tend to notice, especially with the power slappers, is everyone seems to be a real hardworking, like down to roots American, right? Like we got all these people coming in. mechanic 12 hours a day, steel worker 11 hours a day, construction over here, right? Everyone's kind of really on their grind. And I think, like you said, now that season one has ended, the people coming into season two really see the opportunity. Now, do you feel the fighters coming into season two have the advantage? Because now you've seen a little bit of what works, what doesn't work. People like Ryan, the coaches, they're a little more experienced this time around. They're not maybe going to waste any time trying to figure out what to focus on. They've kind of hammered that out a little bit more. Do you feel that's a big advantage to the second wave of fighters?
Oh yeah, of course, because we've all had the opportunity to watch season one and watch their fights and see their techniques and what they do as far as getting more power. We can see what works, what doesn't work, and like the rules and all are still kind of changing here and there because if you go back and watch a lot of the knockouts, really, in my opinion, they're straight clubs. They're not clean at all, and there's still a lot that needs to go into nailing down more of the rules and what the referees can and can't see because it's just it really all comes down to it's hard to see everything right then in the moment. There's only one set of eyes on it. So after the fight's done and over and called, and you go back and you watch the replays and the slow mos, you're like, oh, there was three unchecked fouls that match. It doesn't matter once the match is already over and called.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that we've been able to look at, and so we're working on getting cleaner hits. That way, we're not injuring anyone because I mean we've seen that with this past thing. Like there's a couple of the power slap one guys that they seems like they still have more work to do as far as getting cleaner shots and but it just all comes down to what the ref does and doesn't see. So just like any sport, if the ref doesn't see it, he can't call it. And once the fight's over, it's too late.
Oh, exactly. That was probably one of my biggest criticisms of Power Slap One was the no use of the replay. Like this is a sport where we have the replay. It's one of the things that's in the rule set is they can go to the replay to figure things out. There's four referees on the mat. We got more on the replay. Why aren't we using the replay more? I wanted to see a little bit more of that because like you said we would have caught a little bit more of these strikes that aren't necessarily a slap, but again I think that part of it is growing pains of like you said the first generation still kind of figuring this out. This is a new sport. It will change again. There's a step, there's not a step. You can bend, you can't bend. Taking the chalk away, it's a chalk ball. Like it's going to keep changing and evolving. Speaking of evolving, moving to Dubai for season two. Now we've just talked about your daughter a little bit. Would Dubai and the travel end up being a giant barrier for you, or is that something that you would have to overcome in order to participate in the sport?
I mean, as far as everything goes, I mean, if my daughter's in good health and doing good, it's like there's no reason I wouldn't go to be able to make that money for her. Because after she got here, everything I do is for her. I don't work 12, 13 hours a day welding pipe and being up in a hot rack and 100-degree heat with pants and long sleeve leathers on. I don't do that for my health. I mean, I do that so I can make a better life than I had growing up for my daughter and any future kid I may have. I want better for myself and my fiance. And I wake up every day knowing that I'm in a good place right now. I'm in a lot better place than I was even a year ago, let alone 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, I used to be on drugs pretty bad and I didn't really see myself living past 20, let alone getting to almost 23 with a beautiful daughter, a beautiful fiance. But they're my inspiration for everything. I mean, I went back to school, got my GED because I mean, I was kicked out of school because when you're a 15, 16-year-old that doesn't really care for school, it doesn't matter how smart you are. If you've got bigger things going on as far as home life not being the best, you're not really focused on doing good in school. So now that I have the opportunity to sit back and analyze everything, I wake up every day and strive to be better than I was the day before, to work harder, to be able to make more money so that one day I can have a nice house, nice cars, nice things, be able to provide the things my kids want and need as far as that goes. Because I didn't really have that support growing up, and my parents weren't able, as much as they tried, they weren't able to do that for us. So that's just something I've always said, that no matter what, I will make sure my kids are good, no matter what I have to do, where I have to go. If I have to shovel horse shit for 19 hours a day to make sure my rent's paid so my kids have a place to lay their head, that's what I'm going to do.
Well, that's an awesome story, man. I'm really glad to hear you turned the life around and sounds like you're in a way better place now. Real focused, got your goals in sight, gonna make them happen. I think it's gonna be really awesome to I really want to see you in the house. I think you got a great story to share. I think it'd be really, really awesome to see more of you in the sport. Those leathers, they gotta be good for weight cutting though, am I right?
I mean, yeah, the when you're when you're sweating a gallon to 2 gallons a day, it's easy to drop weight. But when you eat from a gas station every day, it's kind of stays packed on. And like it's just one thing, we make sure to stay hydrated because we've had guys fall out, break jaws from hitting the ground. We've had guys pass away. Like in this field, I've seen it all, man. Like there's anything could happen. I actually work a pretty dangerous job as far as it goes. We do stuff. We'll be 80 feet in the air. The only thing holding us into anything is the fact that we have a harness on. But I mean, after you do it for a while, and it's kind of a second thought, but you always gotta safety's number one. As much as everyone hates the safety equipment, and it's annoying, but it comes down to it, and you're tied off. If that platform you're on falls, you're 80 feet up. There would be nothing you could do without that harness.
So I'm a bit of a weird guy. I've jumped out of a plane, I've skydove, but I won't do bungees. I don't trust ropes. Ropes and like trusting the
Nope.
rope that
It,
that
I
that
mean,
irks me.
it's more of an insurance. Like, I mean, it could always fail,
Yeah.
but in most cases like that, with there's always life insurance policies, and a lot of times if the company provides um, harnesses and they fail, that comes down to the company and their insurance policy, and there will always be a payout for the family if something happens like that. Which I mean, money doesn't replace a person, but when it's something that could help with, maybe say they pay for your kids' college or something if you pass away. I mean, that's always a good thing, but it's always better to just be better safe than sorry.
Yeah, well, let's knock on wood. We don't need that insurance policy anytime soon, and we keep it there. I don't want to take too much of your time. I know you're busy. I know you're currently on site with your daughter there. I don't want to take you away from that. Before I let you go, though, I ask everybody, what's a message or what do you have to say to all the haters on Twitter, on Instagram that say this isn't a sport, you guys aren't athletes, this is some little barbaric TikTok fad and it's not going to stick around? What do you have to say to those people?
I mean, I mean, you can think what you want because everyone said that about the UFC when it first came around. Everyone was like, this is barbaric. This is ridiculous. There's no way people can actually make money doing this. But the safety's all there. The medical's great. If you have a fight and then 2 weeks to a month later, your jaw's still hurting or you have something going on or you're getting headaches and you need to go get an MRI, they're paying for all of that because their main concern is fighter health and safety. They're not going to want you to do anything that's going to jeopardize your health and being able to provide for your family in the future.
No, when we were in Vegas, we heard the same thing. Everybody who did get knocked out at the event or did get hit all spoke very highly of the medical that they received during and the follow-up after. I checked in with a few of them. They all had really good things to say about the medical and they all felt very taken care of. As you know, some fighters didn't even get to fight due to medical conditions the UFC found, and they never would have been found and brought to anyone's attention if it wasn't for the UFC taking the time to go after the proper medical steps and everything. I'm going to let you go. Before we let you go, anything you want to plug, merch store, sponsors, charity, anything like that you want to shout out, let the people know what you got going on. Where can they find you? Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, where you at?
You can find me on Facebook. My name is Andrew Fields. You can find me on Instagram, Uncle Drew Slaps, and TikTok under the same username. Make sure you go give me a follow, like the videos. I post welding content and been doing a lot of slap content lately. And make sure you go over to Rumble, download the app so you can watch everything, never miss anything. Just make sure you guys stay in tune. And my fight will be coming out one day here soon. You don't want to miss it. I promise it's a good one.
You said welding content. You do that stuff. I watch. I'm a sucker for a bunch of that stuff. So I watch those guys. How much you worth to weld? You ever see those?
Yeah, a lot of those guys, I wouldn't give them more than $14 an hour, boss man, to be completely honest with you. But they're still learning. There's when I was in school, I wouldn't have given me, looking back on welds that I was proud of when I was in school, I wouldn't have given me more than 15, $16 an hour. There's a lot that you learn a lot more out in the field when you actually have to stand on your head and look in a mirror and reach around and you can't see it and you're leaning against a hot pipe. There's a lot that goes into it.
So
You can only get better with time.
I want to see that. I want to see someone weld from a mirror just backwards and see how straight those lines are. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, when I get home and I get back to work, I'll have to set up a little demo and I'll record a video and make sure to send it to you guys.
If you do, tag us, man. I'm a sucker for that stuff. I watch, like I said, I've seen that guy on TikTok before. How much you worth to weld, and he goes by and rates everybody. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, but
No, sorry, go ahead.
everything goes good. Just make sure you guys tune in. You don't want to miss it. Power Slap coming up, next big thing. Uncle Drew.
Uncle Drew, everybody, make sure you're following. We're going to link all your socials down below. If you get anything else you want me to link in the meantime, by all means, hit me up. I'm Dominic with PowerSlapNews. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.